there and play baseball in a controlled atmosphere. You know, that by the time you're ready to play, you come here and you can just go.
Yeah.
That was the idea.
Well, and
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I had been, but it's just sometimes you're a takeoff, and sometimes you're like that anyway.
Right.
But I feel like the consistency that I've had over the last 6 days, I feel better, no question.
okay.
You take a look at that swing. I mean, if you went back and took a look at some of your Red Sox swings, those swings up at Trop look very similar to that.
Absolutely.
Have you been studying film, or is this something that you've been actively doing?
I mean, I've been doing it for a while, and sometimes it can be counterproductive. I mean, sometimes you do too much, you try to be too mechanical, and that was one thing that, back in those days when I was hitting the ball really well. I mean, I never really studied the swing. I never really worried about, I just was just swinging, and you go through ups and downs, but, the good would carry you through the bad, and somewhere along the way, you're not doing too well. Okay, now you're analyzing, and you became a little more mechanical. Became about the mechanics of the swing and this and that, what you're doing, what you're not. And I think we kind of came to the conclusion after a couple of years of doing that doesn't really work for me. You got to go up there and you got to swing. And that's been the biggest thing for me. I've never been one of those huge mechanics guys. I'm not going to be on any instructional DVDs. And it was okay, and all of a sudden you struggle a little bit, and then all of a sudden you point out all the things that you're not doing right, and you try to fix, and you get away from what you do well. So it was more of just trying to get back to that, and that's been another hard part. You're on the shelf for 6 weeks, you go to Florida, and you don't, you come back and you're almost, in the minor leagues, you don't have anyone watching your at bats or whatever it is, so it's kind of like you're kind of feeling, and I felt the week that I've been here working with Hudge and kind of getting some eyes on me and stuff like that. Like I said, I feel like I'm getting back to, where I was when I got hurt, I feel.
It's also interesting, too. I mean, here in New York, obviously, there's a lot of external pressure. But, I mean, in some respects, obviously, you have felt it. But because of the way your teammates speak about you, about how hard you work and how much you care, a lot of that's, hasn't been super much. But, I mean, sometimes you put too much internal pressure upon yourself as well.
I think everybody does, I mean, at some point, especially, when you struggle, you want to do well, I mean, and I came here and I wanted nothing more to just play baseball and do well. I mean, that was nothing more, nothing less. Just kind of do what I've done. And when you don't do that, you try to find out why. You look at this, you look at that, and you try harder, whatever it might be. And at some point you realize that all those things aren't working, and it's it's chicken and the egg stuff. It's easier said than done. But I do I do get a little, not solace, but I mean, I'm not saying I'm the hardest working guy in the world ever, but I mean I feel like I am doing a lot of things to try to, I'm not just sitting back saying, hey, whatever. You go out there and you keep busting your butt and hope it'll turn around. And, it speaks volumes, or it means a lot to me that those guys over there kind of feel the same way. I'm sorry, guys. Those guys back there. Feel the same way. And, you just keep grinding. I mean, I consider myself a realist, and this is the reality of what's going on, and you got to go out there and you got to battle. And, it's something you got to deal with.